I want to go across live and exclusive at this time to a special guest joining me on the news track, the man who either already is or most certainly in some time will be the most sought after man in our country, Dr. Krishna Ella, Chairman and Managing Director of Bharat Biotech International Ltd. Of all the companies in India which are in the race to develop the first COVID vaccine, it's Dr. Ella and his team that are currently in the lead. And at a time when there's so much pride associated to local products and everybody's being asked to be vocal about local, it's good to see Bharat Biotech speeding ahead towards developing the first Indian vaccine. So Dr. Ella, welcome. There's a lot of Indian pride, nationalism too getting attached to this idea of the first COVID vaccine. So can I start by asking you that one question that's uppermost in the minds of every single person who's watching you at this time? Dr. Ella, vaccine kab aayegi?
I think, it's like, Rahul, I just want to say that I'm not the hero of this country. I'm telling you the heroes are the doctors, nurses, and the police people. Really, they deserve the help. They are the heroes of this country. And I think I just want to say, this vaccine will definitely be there by end of this year, for sure. If the regulators are going to help us, we'll be there before this end of the year.
So when you say that the vaccine you believe is likely to be ready by December, what do you mean? Does it mean that the trials will be over and technically the vaccine will be ready for distribution and manufacturing, or are you saying people who are watching you at this time will start receiving the vaccine by the end of the year?
See, what we believe is, what happens, the regulators are like this. If the phase 1 and 2 clinical trial data is a very clean, good data, regulators has got two options. Either option is one, they can approve the vaccine, start selling, or if they're not satisfied, they can ask for phase 3 trial. It depends on the regulators. So because of that ambiguity, I'm not able to commit anything like this at this time, but certainly many of the countries are going in a fast track clearances. So I think my feeling is, if you ask me my intuition, it will be there by end of this year. In sense, if it is completed a successful clinical trial, production is not an issue and will be there into the market.
So your vaccine is called COVAXIN. Can you give us some sense of the human trial that you are conducting? How many patients will be part of this human trial? How long is this process likely to take? You're saying if this turns out to be a clean trial, then we can move faster. By when will we know if this is indeed a clean trial?
Well, I think many people ask this question on the vaccine company, why they were not coming fast on the vaccine. The vaccine is a long drawn project. If you ask me a vaccine, it takes 15 years. For us, rotavirus vaccine, it took 16 years for us to come into the market. Typhoid conjugate, it took almost 12 years in getting into the market. So I think if you look at by that definition, we are really fast tracked the vaccine. So if you ask me the procedure for this followed, right now we got phase 1 and 2 permission. So we have to recruit volunteers. So we have planned 1,200 people and more than 10 centers all over the country. And in that process, we have to recruit who are COVID negative. We have to test them that they are RT-PCR negative. After recruiting them, then we have to vaccinate. The trial is only 30 days. So you give first dose 0, 14 days, and then draw the sample on 28th day. That's simple trial. But after that, you have serology studies to be carried out. And where we are working with a partnership with an NIV, Pune, so the serology will be done in both NIV and Bharat Biotech. So we are all working sincerely, I'm telling you, as a commercial company, is not to make a story out of it, but the virus, to multiply, it takes 15 days. So it doesn't happen just like that. So every test, it takes a minimum 2 to 3 weeks for us for the results to come. So I think people should understand, it is not that something launching like a chemical drug. Vaccine is a very high end. We want to produce safe and efficacious vaccine to the public, and that's very important to us.
So from what I've understood of what you've said so far, you will take people who are COVID negative, inject them with your vaccine, then expose them to the coronavirus, and a month later see whether or not that vaccine was able to hold out against the coronavirus or not. Is that broadly what you're doing in the human trial?
No, What we do is we inject the vaccine. So now the body thinks some virus has infected them. Although it is a vaccine, is a killed vaccine. It doesn't multiply. Okay, it killed vaccine. It multiplies. I mean, it doesn't multiply. It body feels that there is a virus has attacked. So it produces immune response to that inactivated protein. Once immune response is produced, on 28th day we draw the blood sample. That blood sample we send it to our BSL-3 containment QC lab, where the live virus is used, and we put the blood sample to that. So when you put that, the virus should not multiply at all. That's we call as a neutralization assay. That means virus should not multiply anymore. I'm using the blood sample from the human vaccinated animal, human beings.
Okay, I get it.
Not challenging anybody. We just take the blood sample.
So you're not injecting it into the human being, you're instead putting it in the blood sample to see whether or not the virus then multiplies or not. But given the speed at which this process is being pushed through, a lot of concerns would be in people's mind about the potential of the vaccine having side effects. If every part of the process is being rushed through, how do we know that this Bharat Biotech International Ltd vaccine, if it's ready by the end of the year, won't have long-term side effects on our body, sir?
And we produced 16 vaccines, Rahul. 16 vaccines. Although we are only 22 years old company, we produced 16 vaccines, many of them brand new vaccines like rotavirus, typhoid conjugate vaccine, first time in the world. We are the one to produce typhoid conjugate vaccine in the world. So we have good expertise in the vaccine experience. And also, please trust me, many people think Indian company qualities are low standard. I'll tell you, quality standards by WHO, only one standard, that standard followed by GSK, Sanofi, Pfizer and Bharat Biotech. All of us follow the same standards. In terms of safety, also we follow the same standards. In terms of efficacy, is also follow the same standards. So please keep in mind, we are not less than any multinationals in terms of quality. On your question about side effect, how do you monitor? It's a continuous process. It's a new virus, new epidemic. We don't know how it's going to behave, and it's a continuous process. We monitor pharmacovigilance. We will case for pharmacovigilance. How them for 2-3 years. Anything is there. And how long is immune response? Whatever the antibody produced in the body, how long it survives.
So how does the technique that you're employing, your style of arriving at this vaccine, compare with what the Oxford University researchers are doing in the UK, or Moderna is doing in the United States, or the various Chinese biotech companies are doing, or the Chinese army is doing? So how are you approaching this challenge in the same way as or differently from the other international companies that are trying to find the first COVID vaccine?
It's a good question, Rahul, but I'm telling you, the Oxford chimpanzee is still no commercial vaccine has been launched so far using chimpanzee vaccine, chimpanzee vector-based. It's a vector-based vaccine. Nothing has been launched so far using that platform yet. Same thing, Moderna, RNA vaccine. Nothing has been proven yet in the human beings and approved anywhere in the world. Coming to Chinese one, whatever Sinovac, Sinopharm is done, inactivated vaccine, which has been published in Science Journal article, where it clearly shows inactivated vaccine with aluminum hydroxide gel along with it. It proven to be the best and protecting 100% protection in the animal studies. Particularly in the monkeys, they got 100% protection. So that clearly shows the old generation vaccine, inactivated vaccine, is working very well. The world is good. It's proving in our forward. World is good.
So from what I understand, and since most of us who are watching aren't really vaccine experts, therefore we're trying to simplify this for myself and for our viewers, you are following, unlike what Moderna in the USA is doing, which is the mRNA style of trying to develop a new vaccine, which is a whole new technology, a whole new style of developing vaccines. You're going by the old textbook style of using an inactivated vaccine, and you believe in the old school, because that school typically takes about 16 years to develop a vaccine, and you still think that that process, which ordinarily on an average takes about 16 years, you can truncate into less than a year and have this out going by that old school, sir?
It's a good question, but I'll tell you one thing. The old vaccines, we produce the rabies vaccine, we produce more than 100 million doses of rabies vaccine which is inactivated. Japanese encephalitis, we produce 200 million doses inactivated vaccine. We produce Zika, inactivated vaccine. Chikungunya, inactivated vaccine. Injectable polio vaccine, people producing all over the world inactivated vaccine, polio, injectable polio vaccine, is also inactivated. So it's not that I've chosen, I'm working other platform technology, rabies platform technology with Thomas Jefferson, with the University of Wisconsin, I'm working with the influenza platform, I'm working different platform. But this one, clearly Chinese publication, science publication, you go by, honestly by as a textbook, it's showing phenomenal results. And even smallest immune response with inactivated vaccine, giving 100% protection in animals, clearly shows the inactivated vaccine working very well. So let's see how the mRNA vaccine works, how chimpanzee vaccine works. But chimpanzee vaccine, you know, Rahul, it is shown in animal that in monkeys, it is not given protection at all. The clinical trial is progressed. So because they allowed UK, both parallelly, animal trial and human trial can go parallel there. Unlike in India.
At this moment, from what you've seen in the trials so far, how confident are you that your vaccine will work successfully during the human trials? And once this 30-day period of the human trials is over, what happens immediately after that?
I just want to clear, 30 days for phase 1 and then phase 2 immediately starts after that. Okay? So it takes 3.5 months trial. So please be clear on that, phase 1 and 2. What will happen if the trial is good? We are continuously manufacturing the product also, parallel. Okay? If the clinical trial is successful, and we launch the product immediately. So, but why you ask me a skeptical question whether it will work or not? We have done already in animals. It is showing good results like a typical virology, a virologist will do of neutralization, micro-neutralization, print 50, print 90. These are the simple buzzwords in virology. We have done all those things in animals already. And we also sent sample to National Institute of Virology, Pune, who check our immune response is right or wrong. And they also verified it is showing very good results in the NIV Pune also. So we are a little confident. We are not just jumping for the sake of market, no. We are with a good foundation of science.
Once the phase 1 and phase 2 of the human trials over, which you say could take 3.5 months, how strong are your production capacities? How many manufacturing lines do you have? If you're saying by the end of the year the vaccine could be ready, at what scale will you be able to release the vaccine?
Rahul, I need another 2 months to tell us this answer. It's a new virus. We are trying to understand them. The virus is also talking to us, and we are also talking to them. And it's a friendly relationship we have to build between the two, and then increase the production. And I think, you know, we've done the rotavirus. Probably we are the largest rotavirus manufacturers in the world, producing 300 million doses of rotavirus vaccine. So that spells out that we are not an R&D company. We are truly a high-end manufacturing company. We will be capable. We may not be able to cater to 1.3 billion. We want more manufacturers to come. And also that is the reason why we are working with other platform technologies also, so that it caters to other people also.
I want to press you further. I'm sorry. I know you've asked for 2 months, but I want to press you further. When you talk about a production line, are you talking about a few hundreds, a few thousands, a few lakhs, a few millions, or a few crores? So what's the kind of scale you have in mind? Because just having the vaccine for a few hundred people, that doesn't really help very much. So what's the aim and scale of your ambition?
I mean, our vision, if you ask me vision, I'm not telling you what I'm producing right now, but certainly it's 1 million. And we'll be in the range of 100 to 200 million doses. That is what our vision is. You ask me vision, my vision is 100 to 200 million doses.
In how much time, sir?
Give us a time, please. Give us a time. So the virus need to understand us better.
No, sure. I'm saying, let's assume you get permission in December. You're saying you want to have about 100 to 200 million. How many months after that will it take for you to be able to scale up to say 200 million if everything goes the way that you want? I'm just saying, what's the best case scenario? Obviously, if the human trials don't go successfully and you need to do it again, then it takes more time. But let's assume you get permissions by December. You now need to scale up to 200 million. How many months would it take in the interim?
It is not an easy task, but we are trying to figure out a lot of strategies. I'll tell you one, some strategy what we are trying to do clinical trial, whether we can do intradermal and intramuscular. If my intradermal works, then it goes to 10-fold increase in production. One dose becomes a 10 dose. So that's why we need some time to figure out this one. So we are working with the clinical trial a little intelligently. Even instead of intramuscular, if I give intradermal, can I increase the 10 times more capacities?
Can you explain that in English, what that means? Sir, one second, outside of language that only vaccinologists understand, can you explain that to me, what that means? I didn't understand, sorry.
Okay. If I give intramuscular, if I say 1 ml as an injectable to intramuscular, the same 1 ml, I can give 0.1 ml intradermally, below the skin, I can give it. If it works, then your capacity, instead of 1 dose, it becomes a 10 dose for the people.
Okay, and how do you decide which of the two strategies works well? And how much minimum dose is required for you to get immunity?
So we have experience in rabies vaccine. In rabies vaccine, 1 dose, 1 ml, gives you 10 dose for intradermal, and governments or state governments are already using intradermal rabies. Many state governments are using. It is not something new I'm talking. But we are trying to adapt the same rabies strategy into COVID also, to put that game. If it works, then you have huge capacities. And you are the first one to know about our strategy.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to press you too hard, but I just have some questions which I'm sure everyone who's watching you at this time has as well. One more question, Dr. Bala. How much is this vaccine likely to cost?
Rahul, I think everybody asked me only one question on this: how much you invested and how much is it going to cost? But I want to tell 2 important examples. Rotavirus is $85 in US and Europe. And we told our Honorable Prime Minister that we sell it $1 a dose vaccine. And we are selling $1 dose vaccine for rotavirus. Same quality, please remember, please don't underestimate Indian company. In terms of quality, exactly same, and we are supplying the vaccine, rotavirus vaccine, to 120 countries globally. Okay, so we're selling it $1 dose vaccine. I'm selling it to India, Nigeria, or South Africa, everywhere $1 dose vaccine. So that speaks our commitment, number one. Number two, we have not taken any money under this public-private partnership, not a single penny from the government of India. The reason we didn't take from the government, when the government is in tremendous pressure in the country, we don't want to exploit the situation. We said, let's put our personal money and run the project. And we are running everything, production, and also, Rahul, we are the BSL-3 containment facility. Please keep in mind, we are the only one in the world has got a BSL-3 containment production facility in the world. And that is the reason why we are able to do live COVID vaccine in those facilities.
I'm delighted to hear that, but I didn't really get an answer. For people who are watching, what should they anticipate in terms of how much might this cost? You're saying you charge $1 for a rota vaccine and that's what it will cost for COVID as well?
No. But just give us time. If I tell something, I don't want to be caught afterwards. So next interview, I don't want to grill by you. So I'm not committing right now, but certainly one thing I'm telling you, if we can't sell at a low price, nobody else can sell at lower than us. That much I can assure you.
That's so reassuring. Once you start selling at a low price, how do you decide who gets it first? Like, how do you distribute? Because everybody will want it. Let's assume you can even get 100 million vaccine doses out there, 1.3 billion people. Who does it go to first?
I think government has to decide, not by us. It's a government has to decide.
Makes sense. And you do know, I mean, no pressure at all, Dr. Ella, but you do know it's a bit like the race to the moon. Like there was between the USSR and the United States, a huge nationalistic urge to put the man in the moon or get to the moon and land over there. So it's a bit like that, but no pressure at all. We're delighted that you're doing as well as you are. We're happy to hear that COVAXIN is now entering the human trial stage, and we wish you all the best. You've got a tricolor flying right behind you all over your office. So we wish you all the best. And the best thing is your commitment to try and keep the cost low. I think that is critical. Unlike what American pharma may be doing, the very strong commitment to try and keep costs as low as is possible. I'm sorry if I press too hard on certain things, because this is an evolving situation for you as well. But we are delighted that you could join us, and we wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Ram.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all, as I said. Dr. Krishna Ella there. He's the man who's leading India's race to have the first coronavirus vaccine. Look out for him. He's a man we'll very, very closely track here on the news track.